Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach Brittle, and I gotta tell you, I am having so much fun recording these couple interviews. I've gotten to talk to a bunch of different kinds of people and have a bunch of different kinds of conversations, and I'm learning something new every time, and they're just fun. I'm excited to roll these out to you, especially this one. I'm talking to Dedric and Krystal Polite, and I was smiling ear to ear the entire time. Their perspective on parenting, on relationships, on business is just refreshing and cool. She in particular has a unique point of view when it comes to how relationships work, and in particular how her relationship with Dedric works. He is clearly very in love, and it's always a pleasure to talk to people who are deeply, deeply connected to one another and to the work that they're doing. And so I'm excited to share this conversation with you. I want to thank you again, those of you who are supporting us on Patreon. I've been rolling out some new content back there for you. If you are interested in what's going on behind the scenes at Marriage Therapy Radio, you can check it out. I'm on the road quite a bit over the next month, and I can't wait to share some of those adventures with you. Also, shout out to Dan McKeever, who continues to be a big encouragement. I really appreciate you letting me know that you value what we're doing here. Helps a lot, puts wind at my back. For now, this is a very cool conversation. Stick around. Dedric and Krystal Polite, well, welcome to Marriage Therapy Radio. And like I said, I want to ask you questions that no one asks you, but I feel like the question I'm about to ask you, everyone asks you, which is your actual last name Polite?
Yes, that is my actual last name. That is my family name, my given name.
Does it come with a heavy burden? Does it come with the need to deliver?
It does. And when I got married to Krystal, all her friends made fun of her because she is like the last person you say is polite. So she got a little keychain that says polite as F. One of her friends got us her little keychain saying that.
I'm very giving, right? I'm the biggest giver in the world. Very generous, but polite was definitely a cruel joke. They said definitely God played a joke on you. He was gonna force this on you one way or the other when I got that last name Polite. So it is, because the first thing people ask is like, oh, are you polite? And I tell people depending on the day and the person.
Yeah, I love it. I talk to clients all the time about the difference between nice and kind. Like, I think you can be nice but not kind. I think you can be kind but not nice. I think you can be neither, and I think you can be both.
Yep.
So I might be a little bit more in your category, where I feel pretty strongly that I'm kind but not nice.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you the truth, and I will tell it to you with the starkest reality you can imagine, but I will do it so gently so that you don't.
Yeah. That's it. That's me. Like, I tell people, if you don't want to know the truth, you definitely should not ask me.
Yeah. What's that like for you, Dedric?
Which aspect?
Well, being married to somebody who's gonna bring it to you.
It's actually refreshing. That's one of the things I love about her, because in a world where you have so many yes men and yes women, and you even have friends that'll tell you what you want to hear, I needed someone that was going to slap me in the face with reality and be like, dude, you need to step it up. You need to do better. You're not, doing what you know what I mean? I needed that. And she's provided that to me every day since we met 15 years ago.
First date, like.
You guys have been together for 15 years. How long have you been married?
Going on 10.
So, all right. So your first date, what was that?
Our first date was at Joe's All-American Grill. It was actually a business meeting, right? We were both in our late 20s, and we sat down, and I think we're just going to lunch, little lunch date, and she started grilling me with questions. What's your 5-year plan? What's your 3-year plan? Do you plan to stay in Boston? Are you an entrepreneur? And she literally, I'm like, whoa, this feels like an interview. So I start grilling her back with the same questions she's asking me. Like, well, what's your 5-year plan? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? What do you really want? And again, most men would be kind of maybe threatened by that. Some, I guess, were taken aback, but it was actually refreshing for me because it wasn't the norm, right? Most first dates, you're like, you still got the little butterflies, and you're not being your true self and all that stuff. But she got cut right to the chase. And I love that, right? I was like, this is a woman who has goals. She's driven. She knows where she's going. She knows what she wants, what she doesn't want. So we got her all on the table in the first date.
Yeah, we definitely, like I tell people, when I was asking them questions like, what's your credit score? Any pre-existing conditions in your family, any mental health issues.
First date.
What are your goals, true goals? What are some of your passions? What do you want to do that you're passionate about, right? What would you do if you could do it every day and you do it for free? That's how I knew he loved real estate and he wanted to get into real estate. And I tell people, even when I asked him his credit score, it wasn't to disqualify him. It was to understand where he was right now with something that's super important with every couple, right? Is knowing where you are financially. But it was more so to know how we needed to move, right? So if he had been like, yo, I got a 500, then I'd have been like, okay, so first thing we'll do is do some credit repair. So it was never to be like, oh, ooh, I can't mess with you. You got like a 500. Like it was more so just to say, okay, he got a 500, boom. Then we're going to hook up. We're going to get some credit repair. We're going to build from there. It'll take us probably a year. That's how my mind worked. When I asked him, hey, do you plan on living in Boston forever? And he was like, well, no. I said, okay, because anyone planning on being with me has to be willing to move within the next year because I have goals and being here is not going to allow me to achieve them. So it was more so, like I tell people, I didn't ask about what your favorite food was because I wasn't planning on cooking it. I didn't ask about favorite color and, what drinks do you like? Because I don't drink. So none of that made sense to me, right? I really wanted to get to know him. And the version that most people wait a year to get to know. I'm not
The real person, not the representative.
exactly.
Yeah. Huh. So presumably you'd done this before. You'd been through dates before where you'd given the same kind of interview. Is that real? Like, or was there something different right away?
No, I knew with Dedric, I was going to marry him. So
like in
we
5 minutes in like it like
the moment I met him at the gas station, we met at gas station pump 6. And he came up to me, he started talking, and immediately when I heard his voice, I knew that this was the guy I had been dreaming about for like 10 plus years. I'd always dreamt about this guy, never saw his face, never knew the relevance of him, but couldn't picture his face, but I knew his voice and his body. So when he started talking, I just was like, wow. So I was like,
That's him.
wow, this is this guy. So immediately after leaving the gas station, I called my best friend. I was like, yo, you'll never guess what just happened. And she was just like, what? I said, yo, I just met the guy I'm going to marry. And she was like, I know you lying. Girl. And I had already been proposed to like 4 times. And it's always been a no. So for me to say like, yo, this is crazy. I just met the guy I'm going to marry. And she was like, are you serious? I was like, girl, it is the guy who I've been dreaming about I've been dreaming about this guy for like 10 plus years. I knew his voice. I knew his legs. I knew his arms. So I knew this was the guy God had put in front of me at this time. And this was him that I was planning on I was supposed to marry. And so when we sat down, it was more so like, okay, let's figure out the attraction is there. We know that, yeah, you cute. You look good. Yes, we are attracted to each other physically. But I wanted to get to the part that most people don't for a year in, 2 years in, and then it becomes too late.
Well, when did you let him know?
That he was the guy that I was going to marry?
Yeah. Did you, like you said, okay, hey, by the way, just so you know,
Nope. Oh, she played that close to she left me in bated breath.
when did you know?
Well, she asked me, she was like, when do you plan on getting married? Do you ever want to get married? How many kids you want on the first date? And I was like, I'm 28 at the time. I got a corporate job. I got a company car, wear a suit and tie. I just bought my first house. So I was doing well for myself. And I was like, man, wait, when I'm 60, 65, I might settle down.
Jeez.
And I was just honest with her. Like, I didn't see myself settling down before I was 50, 60 years old. And like, she didn't fight it. Like most females are like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You're not marriage material. She just said, okay.
Mm-hmm. And moved on. Just like
moved on the conversation, right? Because she knew, and I knew, right? What was for her was her, and we were meant to be together. So
I just knew that so many women like to turn red lights green. Mm-hmm. And for me, just because a man say I'll get married at 65 don't mean that's actually going to be when he gets married. It means until he meets the woman worth marrying, That's where he is setting his sights on, right? Of settling down. So stuff like that has never bothered me because I know that has nothing to do with me. If you say 65, I don't have a problem with that. That's your goal, right? If I say, hey, I want to get married at 35, that's my goal. I said I didn't want to have kids before I was 30. That's what happened. I didn't have any kids before I was 30. So to me, it didn't scare me off, but I didn't tell him he was the one. For probably till he proposed. Like
it's about time you figured it out.
That's what it is. I never told him. I showed him because when we first got together, before we got together, I actually told him he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I sent him off for a year.
Yeah, we first got together. I'm all ready to dive headlong into a relationship, but I was 28, 29, wasn't mature, wasn't ready for a committed relationship, but I knew she was a good woman, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's be serious. And she was like, no, you're not ready. I was like, what do you mean? I'm ready to be committed. She was like, no, you're not ready. She was like, go have fun, live your life, ride your motorcycle you just bought. She was like, go sleep with some other women. And I was like, what did you say? She was like, go sow your royal oats pretty much. And I was like, are you serious? I thought she was just like punking me, right? You know how those MTV punks, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
A lot of women will do that. They'll give a man a test, and depending on how he answers that test, I'm like, you're not. She's like, no, I'm serious. And she literally stopped answering my calls, just basically cut me off. And I was like, okay. And I just went and, started doing my thing reluctantly, begging and screaming, right? So I, did every few months ago, so I'll try to call her, get back in touch, and she wouldn't answer my phone calls. And finally, about a year later, when I felt I was ready, I reached back out to her, and she literally ghosted me. She would not answer my calls.
I didn't ghost him. I was already ghosting him, but it wasn't a year yet. Like he was at like 10 months and he was trying to come back. And I said, a year. That year ain't up. So when he did, he caught me because I worked 3 jobs at the time. And I had no children or anything, but I was super driven. I had a nonprofit, I had my own business, and I still worked 3 jobs. So he caught me at like 3 in the morning.
I called her randomly on a drunken night.
I just got home from working like my second job. I worked at the TD Gardens. And, you're there late at night for basketball games or concerts. So I'll get home at like 2. I'll go to sleep until like 6:30. Get up to go to my day job, and he called me at like 3. I did. I answered by accident because somebody call you at that time, you think it's an emergency. So I just scrambled, pick the phone up, and I'm like, hello. And he was like, I have been trying to get a hold of you and I'm like, that's when I looked at it like, who is this? And I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And he was like, I've really been wanting to talk to you. I said, okay, it's a little late.
And it turns out she had started dating someone else in the interim.
But like I told him, I didn't say I was going to wait for a year.
What about that poor man?
You know what I'm saying? I said, go off and live your life. And if you still want to be with me in a year, we can revisit this. Come back and we'll revisit this. Why? Because I knew he wasn't ready. Under no circumstances could I have made him ready then.
Yeah, we would have crashed and burned.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And
totally.
I was mature enough to understand that. And I wasn't going to force him to be where I was because I knew it would have just made things worse. And I also know me. And when you know me, yourself, you can't lie to yourself. I'm not the type of woman who you can just play in my face. Right. And me understanding that and knowing who I am, I knew that you can't come back to me. You can't come with me and you all of a sudden it's us. I know you're not ready to be in a relationship. I know you're about to cheat all over the place because you're trying to stay committed to me. And then I just continue to take it like, okay, well, don't do it again. Or we really going to be over this time. That's not me. And I knew where I was headed in life. So I just said, listen, go off and live your life for another year. You got to get a lot of stuff out your system. And that's okay. I'll be here. If you want to revisit this in a year, just come back in a year and we'll have a conversation. Now, when he did come back, I told him on the phone when he woke me up at 3, 4 in the morning, I said, let's do lunch. Just call me at a normal time tomorrow.
She hasn't been able to get rid of me since then, since that day.
Literally, we set up a lunch date, and from that lunch date forward, we have been together.
That's amazing. I don't want to talk about this guy, but what about that poor fellow that you were dating at the time? Did he know that he was just a placeholder?
Placeholder, total placeholder.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything like serious. It was just I'm casually dating while, I'm waiting, not waiting for him, but I knew eventually he'll come back around.
So he thought you was the one. He was all heartbroken. I felt a little bad. No, I didn't feel bad.
But it was casually dating. So it wasn't like we were in a committed relationship or anything. It was just us going out on dates, things of that nature. So for me, I'm very upfront. I'm very honest. He knew that I was not looking for a committed relationship with him. I'm very, anyone who knows me knows, and it will tell you, I am brutally honest. So I believe in setting those expectations up front. I don't believe in playing in anyone's face or they're playing with anyone's heart. And I like to tell people our wedding, and just to show proof of that, our wedding had like 3 of my exes at it.
Oh, right on.
And I tell people, they're like, what? My ex cut Dedric's hair, my brother's hair, the groom's hair. Like, why? Because I build upon the friendship before the relationship. And when the relationship ends, the friendship supersedes it because we had a friendship first. So that's why I believe in being upfront and honest with people. And I tell people, if you are single and you have an understanding with an individual and it's like, hey, we're both single, we're just getting to know each other, I'm not expecting you to be committed. But have that conversation so one person ain't in love and the other person's kind of in lust or like. So I was always brutally honest with everyone, including Dedric.
Mm-hmm. So Dedric, you're hanging out for a year, you're doing your thing, you're living your life.
Yes.
When do you know? How do you know that Krystal's the one? Do you figure it out in do you know also at the first lunch? Does it take you 6 months? Does it take you getting drunk in the middle of the night and realizing, hold on, what am I doing? And so you call, what's your side of that same equation?
I knew from when I first met her, again, at the gas pump, that she was the one that I was going to marry. I just knew I wasn't ready, right? I wasn't ready to admit that I wasn't ready because she kind of pushed me to that. But I was like, she was right. But then she showed me as well through her actions. So a couple months into us dating, I got fired from my job. So I'm fired, I'm laid off, I got a mortgage to pay, I just bought a brand new car, just bought a motorcycle, got all these bills, and I just got fired. I'm like all freaking out, depressed. How am I going to pay my bills? Am I going to get foreclosed? And she saw the condition I was in. I'm depressed, moping around the house, wearing the same clothes. And she finally was like, all right, sat me down, was like, all right, you need to snap out of this. I'll let you wallow in your misery for a few weeks. She's like, forget that job. You didn't lose a job. They lost you. F them. You're going to really sit down and focus on what has God ordained you to do. What are you passionate about? Don't worry about your bills. I'll help take care of the bills. And we had just started dating. And I was like, are you serious? And she gave me this pep talk and she gave me a whole new lease on life. I'm looking like doomsday scenario. And after she spoke to me and spoke life into me, I was like, man, she just turned everything around. Like, this is the woman I need to be with. So, yeah.
And then she broke up with you for a year.
No, that was before.
Yeah, that
was before. So once we
got it. Now we're back together, and now we're doing this.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
So that's like whatever, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. You've lived a lot of life then. You've had children. Who are they?
We have 2 kids, 2 sons, 11 years old, and a 7-year-old.
What are they? Who are they? What are they like?
Woo, chat.
Where do we start?
So I like to say one of them is like Dedric, and then one is like me, and it's the weirdest thing. So the mama's boy is like Dedric, and the daddy's boy is just like me.
Opposites.
Total opposites. Yeah. They are both super competitive, die hard competitive, and it don't matter if it's drinking water. They're gonna both try and outdrink each other and just drinking water. Very athletic, extremely smart, intelligent kids. And I like to say they definitely got that from their father as well. But they're extremely intelligent kids. Too smart sometimes, because then I'd be like, bro, I'm not about to go back and forth with you on this. Just get up and go get in the shower, because my youngest is like me. And he is a lawyer at heart. And I tell him, because that's what I wanted to be growing up. And that's what I went to school for until I changed my major, was law. And I wanted to be a lawyer my entire life. And now I see that in him, because everything is a debate. Everything he comes back with such quick rationale behind any situation. So
How am I
is
letting a 7-year-old talk me into doing something I said I wouldn't do?
right. Like it is crazy. And both of them are super competitive, athletic. So we are every weekend, we're in a different state, playing travel basketball, travel soccer, baseball. So whatever it is, where typically our weekends are locked in stone with them. And I love it because I tell people you have 18 summers with your children. That's how I like to look at it. 18 summers before they're off on their own. So every moment with them is a blessing. And I tell people that's true generational wealth. When you can get older and your kids still want to be around you, when Dedric and I are 60, 70, and they still want to make sure they're coming home, that is what generational wealth is.
Yeah. I feel that. I have 2 daughters. They're 18 and 22. And for about, I want to say about 10 years, our parenting philosophy has been, we want to be in a friendship with our adult children.
Yeah.
Like we really want to be connected to them as adults because again, I think people don't realize this, but you'll have more time parenting your kids when they are adults than you will parenting your kids when they are children.
Yeah.
Like you get, so we've been really investing in like the 18 plus years we'll have with them and their spouses and their children and whatever else. But yeah, I'm staring at it right now. Like my kid is 18 and this is our last summer. I've already sent one to school and it's rough, man. It's like,
it is
okay.
It's about to be empty nesters.
It's
a whole
also
nother deal. But
it's also time. Like I think people like you guys are like, oh, 7 and 9. I can't imagine them leaving. And I'm like, I can imagine it. They've started to spread their wings. They're doing their thing. It's time for them to go and do their thing. So I think that they've come to that. I like asking people about their kids because here's what I want to know. If I asked your kids about you, I said, hey, tell me about your parents. What do you think they would tell me?
That's a great question.
What would they say about? I say, what's it like growing up in their house? What's their marriage like? What's their relationship like? They may not have words at 7 and 9, but like, what do you think they'd say?
Ours would definitely have words. I think what they would say is, my mom and dad works a lot, and it kind of shocks us how much, even with working, they stop everything for us. So they don't miss a beat for anything that has to do with school. So I think they would definitely say my mom and dad
work hard.
They work hard, but everything is always about us and getting us to where we need to be and whatever we want to do. They would definitely say my mom is the one not to play with. They would definitely say my mom is the tougher one because I am tougher on them, and I'm just tougher general when it comes to just my, how would you say, my persona.
But you
Like
also have fun.
I'm a softie in heart, inside. My exterior is hard to the core, but you have to be because I have such a big heart.
Yeah, you have a huge heart.
And everyone knows that. So, they would definitely say my dad is the cool one. My dad is, I think for them, they say, my family, I think they would also say my parents love to vacation. We love taking trips, especially their father. Anytime he can get a trip planned or a vacation planned for us, he's all for it. So I think they would definitely say they grew up on planes and vacations and stuff because we do as a family. So I think what they would say we've instilled is a hard work ethic, right? They grew up in the business that we're in, and we did that intentionally, so that, one day when we're called home, everything that we built for them doesn't get sold out from under us the moment our body hits the dirt, right? They understand what hard work it took us to get to where we're at, and they appreciate and respect that. So I think they would definitely say, my mom is the loud one though, especially at games. So I'm a whole different person when you see me at.
We know where they get their competitiveness from.
Yes. Hands down.
Yeah. And I asked you guys to fill out a form beforehand. It sounds like I'm just listening to go, God, you guys have got it all figured out. And I'm just listening and I'm kind of in awe of the story. And also you have spent some time in couples therapy. And what was that story for you? What was that like? What did you learn? Or what did that add for you?
Yeah, so when we first started dating and when we decided we want to be committed, she was like, we need to go to couples therapy. And I was
Okay.
like,
So we were in 2 months in. We were about 2 months into dating.
This is after the year or before the year?
after the year.
After what year?
It was
Yeah, after
after
the
the
year.
year.
So
Okay.
once I sent him off and he came back and we said, okay, we're gonna do this, just you and I.
Okay.
2 months into that relationship, around the same time he got laid off,
Yep.
got fired, I tell him,
Couples therapy. And I'm like, in my community and where I come from, we don't do therapy, right? It was like, you're crazy
Yeah.
if you have to sit on somebody's couch and tell your problems to
Yeah.
some guy you
Yeah.
don't
I
even
get
know.
that.
It was definitely a stigma attached to it. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. She was like, if you want to be with me, we're doing it. And
Are you
arguing
still
back
in
and forth,
Boston at the time?
still in Boston. Yep. So
Okay.
I went kicking and screaming. I'm like, your insurance better cover this because I ain't paying for no therapist. And we go and we sit on the couch. And by like the second or third session, I'm like telling them everything, right? I'm like, well, she does this. I don't like she does that. And she's like, I thought you didn't want to do therapy. What are you telling this lady all this stuff for?
right.
And I got my cue cards for communication. I'm like, remember what we said in therapy? So I'm all into it. But it definitely helped our relationship because we both were raised by single parents. My mom raised 3 kids. Her mom raised 4 kids by themselves. So we never saw a healthy marriage from the
Oh,
inside
wow.
done the
Yeah.
right way. So she was like, look, if we want any chance of being successful, we need to go to therapy because we've never seen it done right. Without that, again,
Oh, I
the
love
reason
that.
we're still together to this day is because we went to therapy at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've continued therapy throughout because, therapy is like a tutor, right? You want to get it when you don't need it. And not when you have to have it at that point. So for
Yeah.
me, it was like, look, I love all the good TV shows. Cosby Show, one of my favorites. I love Family Matters, Growing Pains. I love all them family shows, but that wasn't a reality for us. And I told him, yeah, we've never seen it done right. And to make sure we know how to communicate, we're going to couples therapy.
Okay. So now I have another question, this is one of my hip pocket questions. I ask clients this all the time. As far as you know, right now, in 2025, do you have a philosophy of marriage, like how marriage works? And I'll tell you where this is coming from. You've already admitted we didn't get it from our parents because we didn't actually see them together. We didn't get it from TV because what we saw was made up and, fantasy land. So actually you did get it from your parents and you did get it from TV, but it wasn't sustainable. It didn't work. And then you went to therapy and you started to kind of sort some stuff out. And here you are, you've done your time. Have you formed now a philosophy of marriage that you understand and can articulate to each other, to your kids, to your community? Like, what would that be?
I would definitely say 2 things that I try to base our relationship on that is carried into our marriage. So a lot of people start working on the marriage in the marriage. I did it. I started working on our marriage when we were dating. So that's why it was such an easier transition for us with the counseling. And one of the first things are before the marriage is, and I try to give this advice to everyone, my philosophy is to start how you want to finish. And when I tell people that, it really sums up no matter what you're doing in life, no matter where you are in life, whether it's a marriage, a job, school, it don't matter. Start how you want to finish. I started our relationship, i.e. our first date, being intentional. I started our first date being forthcoming, upfront, because that's how I want us to finish. I started with us being friends, right? When we got together and I sent him off, it was building a friendship with him, building a trust with him. So when we first got together, we were still friends and we communicated like friends. We laughed like friends. And when he was dating other women, he told me about it. I would make sure he was very upfront and honest with me about girls, and he could talk to me like a friend. And guess what? Had you ever heard about it since?
Nope.
It's never came back up. It's never been to the point where I've ever thought about well, remember when you told me you was with Neek and y'all went out, and I've never done that, right? Because I built upon our friendship first. And my second philosophy has always been to find out early on if you have a teammate or an opponent in that marriage. If you can find out whether or not this is a teammate or an opponent, that will help you transition into what type of marriage you actually have. A lot of people are married to opponents. Everything is trying to one up each other. Everything is
Tug of war.
a tug of war. When Dedric and I sat down in the beginning, I wanted to know, is our vision aligned? Are we going in the same direction? Are you an entrepreneur? Because I was a diehard entrepreneur, and so many people come up to us now saying, hey, I can't get my wife into this business. What do I do? What do I do? You've been together 10 years. What conversation did you have when you were dating? Well, we never really talked about it. Well, how long have you wanted to be an entrepreneur? My whole life. I knew it my whole life. So it wasn't important enough to bring up to her to see if she would have been on the same page. So now she don't understand why you trying to spend $50,000 on a business. And you coming to us for counseling. We're not about to do this with you. For me, I wanted to know that up front, right? I wanted to know, are we equally yoked, but mentally are we compatible as well? Are our visions aligned, goals aligned? And I understood I had a teammate in him early on, not an opponent. This is someone who I know complemented my strengths and weaknesses and vice versa. So when I couldn't put in 100%, and I could only put in 40, he can back me up 60. And days that he couldn't put in 100%, he could only put in 60, I backed him up 40. Because I tell people marriages are not 50-50. And if you marry, you know that. Every day it should be 100 per 100. Now, every day we're not going to have that to put in. So we're there to make up for each other's losses for that day. There's days I'm going to be down. He's going to see that and put in a little bit more and be okay with that because he's a teammate and not an opponent who's now like, why ain't you like, come on, bro, you can still do it. Come on, you like, Dad, why I got to be the one to help you? So I think if you can understand to start the relationship, how you want to finish, and then understand, do you have a teammate or opponent? But do it in the relationship, the beginning stages. Don't wait till marriage. If you wait till then, it's too late, in my opinion.
Yeah. What do you think, Dedric? Do you share that philosophy? Do you have your own twist on that?
Yeah, I always say Krystal could write a book about relationships and marriage because she's like the whisperer when it comes to that. But yeah, one of my philosophy is being equally yoked, right? Like you mentioned, Krystal, you got to be headed in the same direction. If it's two people that have totally different goals, totally different outlooks on life, that's really gonna be tough to make that work. You don't have to be identical, like, oh, she's this, I'm that, like we're identical, but 70, 80% of what you guys are into, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations should be aligned in a similar direction. That's one thing. I think respect is key. Communication is also key long term. And like Krystal said, just being a friend, like respecting that person, not just as your spouse or your wife or your husband, but as a friend enough to tell them the truth. I think those are some of my key philosophies.
Do you, to as busy as you guys are, I've looked in and I kind of saw, man, you guys are you're all over the place. And then you got your kids and they're demanding your, your weekends and soccer and all this stuff. What do the two of you do to stay connected to one another? Do you have rituals? Do you have patterns? Do you have certain kinds of disciplines that help you maintain this relationship focus in the midst of all the crazy town that you're also dealing with?
Oh yeah. So Dedric actually is really, really great with this. We have regular date nights. And they're typically stuff that like comedy shows, concerts. So we have regular date nights. We're going to try different, we're both foodies. So he'll always pick a different random restaurant that he's just heard about and we'll go there. So we do make sure that we nurture our relationship just as much as we nurture everyone else who's connected to us. We also make sure, like during the week, even during business, I had started where on Wednesdays he and I have breakfast. First thing in the morning, like right after we drop the kids off to school, we'll start to pick just a different restaurant. And we'll go and we'll have breakfast. We'll talk about us. We'll talk about the business, where we're at. And that's also something that makes sure that throughout the week, because Dedric typically works in the office, I work from home. That's very intentional, So I think it gives us also such a healthy balance for us, and we're not over on top of each other all day every day. So when we come home, it's kind of like, okay,
which one of you is more likely to skip work and like create something playful for the other?
I'm more likely to skip work because I'll go golfing, I'll go get a massage, I'll go hang out.
It would definitely be
But
him.
the creative one to create
It's like
something
me.
is her. Like when
Yeah.
she plans birthday parties or she plans events for our kids, like
Anything.
it's a production. So she's the creative one like that.
Yeah. So that would probably be me.
It sounds like you guys have learned a lot from each other as you've kind of grown older and gained momentum and experience. Have you had to unlearn anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day.
Unlearn being right, the need to be right. I think that's just a marriage principle in general is, even when you're right, sometimes you're wrong, right? So sometimes you got to let your spouse be like, all right, you won the battle. This is about the war, right? You're going to stay married. So I'll let you think you won.
Pick and choose, right?
Pick and choose your battles.
Yep. I think for me, I had to unlearn being, there's a such thing as being too strong, right? So I came from a single mother, single parent. My mother was the mother and the father. So my mom was the epitome of strength, like super alpha, very strong woman. And that's what I saw growing up. So I saw a woman who did everything, like put beds together, put furniture together, move 8, 9 times, like working 2, 3 jobs, like every single day, and never complained, always had a smile on her face, still had time for us, never took vacations, like, but made sure we took vacations. So I saw that strength in her. And then when we got married, in my mind, I had to do that too. And it took me a while, and Dedric constantly saying, like, you do know you ain't a single parent. Like, I didn't realize until I had my second child in the recovery room that Dedric never changed diapers of the first one. Because I didn't let him. I didn't let anybody touch him. And then when my second one came out, and Dedric was like, okay, so what am I supposed to do again? Like, how I changed the diaper? I said,
I knew how to change diapers. I didn't know how to swaddle.
That was not a swaddle. It was a diaper change.
You wrapped a little cloth up around.
That was not a swaddle.
I knew how to change diapers.
It was a diaper change. And he asked right then, he was like, no, I'm just saying, I just forgot. Like, I said, that
been a few years.
You ain't never changed diapers. He was like, babe, you really never let me. Like,
she wouldn't let anyone touch our first son. He was hers.
So I was like, oh,
and
he's is
he the mama's boy? The first son is the mama's boy?
Yeah.
The second one is the daddy's boy. Totally.
Yeah.
But I told Dedric, in all fairness, I said, I did not make him a mama's boy. He came out attached to me. Dedric kept saying, no, you made him like that. You made him like that. I said, I promise you I did. So when my second one came out, immediately upon coming out, it was all about that.
He
gravitated to him immediately.
It was like, maybe it's hereditary.
Still gravitates to him. We'll both come through the door. Daddy! And run past me, give daddy a jump on him, and then be like, you too, mommy. And come back and give me a kiss. And I'm like, bro, okay, I only had you, like, and carried you. But he saw that it really wasn't anything I did, because the second one came out completely stuck to Dedric, glued to his head.
Yeah, I love that. To your earlier point about having to give up being right, I have a therapy mentor, and he says the answer to who's right and who's wrong is who cares.
Right. That's a good one.
Who cares?
You need to make sure you say that every single time to yourself. Okay.
You care about always being right.
I know. That's why I said you got to be the one to say it.
What's next for you guys? What's your 3-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? What's happening for you
Well,
as
what's
you
next
move through the next
business-wise is
phase?
we're in real estate, but we bought a franchise. Krystal's dream is to own a chain of family entertainment franchises because she's huge on families
Okay.
getting together, making memories, having fun. So we're in the process of building out a 40,000 square foot Sky Zone trampoline park in our
right on.
town. So we're looking for a location right now for that. That's what's next. Marriage-wise, family-wise, is just creating more memories.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to work and does their business stuff, but for me, you live life for the weekends and the vacations and those memories where you can unplug from, the daily grind and really just spend time with your loved ones and with your wife and or your husband and your kids and make lifelong memories.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
understanding with our kids, what do they want to do now, right? Our kids,
Mhm.
and being able to foster their dreams. And I always tell parents, sometimes you have to put yours on pause or on hold to make sure that your kids have dreams. And
Mhm.
for me, it's also about, making sure that they do everything that they like to do, that we can, support them. And they want to do a YouTube channel. So we're doing their YouTube channel with them. And for us, it's more so about business wise, is really building out now the franchises for me. So, and I like to tell people this because when we got together, real estate was Dedric's dream. Dedric wanted to get into real estate. Met him. Everything he talked about was real estate. He just didn't take action. And so then I was like, bro, we're not going to keep talking about this. So I ended up doing research. I ended up starting our LLC, which forced him to be like, oh, okay, well, I guess we doing it. Yeah, we doing this now. But
Which what I needed.
it was his dream. So I wanted to support that and be like, we're not going to do. That's why that first date was so important, because I asked him, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? It was real estate.
Yep.
So I always knew in the back of my head, that's something we're going to end up doing because he said this is a passion of his. So we got into it, but he said, what's mine? Mine is I want to own family entertainment centers. He said, okay. So when we got into real estate, he said, listen, we can take the money from real estate and then invest into your dream. And I said, okay, bet, let's do it. And that's what we did. That is us sticking to the plan. And 2, 3, 4 years later, we're now pivoting, still doing real estate, but now we're incorporating my dream as well. So always making sure that couples understand that your dreams don't have to be the exact same, right? As long as you have a plan on how to execute them.
Now you both can live out your dreams.
That's all that matters.
Well, and as long as both of you are fans and supporters of the other's dream,
there
that
you go.
feels really critical too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether you understand it or not. Like, I didn't know anything about real estate, but I learned, and I was at them conferences, and I was at trainings, at seminars and everything else, right with them with my notebook and my pen. And I'm okay. So did you hear what
we
he
built it
said?
together. Wouldn't be able to build it without her.
Absolutely.
I love it. So you got a trip coming up? Where are you going next?
We got a bunch of trips coming up.
The whole summer is
our whole summer is nothing but trips. So I don't think between May, they get out of school May 23rd.
Good grief. We don't get out till like June the 22nd or something like that.
Yeah, a month earlier. So from May to when they go back to school, we're gonna be gone almost every weekend. Doing something with the family.
Yeah, and I think
you coming to Seattle?
We were supposed to go to a conference out there, but it would have taken too many days with the schedule and.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're supposed to go in Oregon.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we have to make it out there.
If you do, you make it out here, let me know. I'll take you to a restaurant. We'll get some foodie experience, and we'll feed you. And I've so enjoyed talking to you. I have a smile on my face the entire time, and I hope that we can stay friends. And I want to hear about your kids' YouTube channel so we can make sure that everybody knows how to watch it and keep up with these two. What would they be? Young entrepreneurs or young?
Yes, absolutely. Young entrepreneurs. We call them polite boys.
We appreciate the invite, Zach, and thank you for having us on the show.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
If you ever come to North Carolina,
I'll be back.
Make sure you hit us up.
I'll be back. I'm gonna. I don't know when, but I try to get back to Roanoke about once a year. Just because, of course, my parents are aging and they're doing their whole thing. I have a feeling I'm going to have to get back there a little bit more often because they're getting into their 80s now, and it's a weird time. It's a weird time when you think about, part of why I want to be in an adult friendship with my kids is so that when I start to fall apart, they don't resent having to take care of me.
Right.
They're not like, I'm not taking care of that guy. They're like, of course, it's my turn.
Yep.
I sort of feel like that about my parents,
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
So-
That's how it is. I'm telling you, because my mother, she knows she's good. She's good. And I tell people, my father, that's another one. That's another story. Like,
Different story.
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
you make sure that parents make sure that you take care of your children when they're young, and not so give them everything they want, because that's not parenting, but teaching them, right? We all understand
Yeah.
now as we got older why our parents had to do what they did. And when it's their time, like my mother said, twice a child, once an adult. When it comes back
Yeah.
around, it's you relish in the fact that you're able to give them a little bit of what they were able to do for you.
Yeah. It's also really cool for me too, is to watch them, my daughters right now, you try to beat these lessons, not beat, but you try to like instill these lessons into their head their whole life. And they're like, what do you know? And I'll figure it out, and leave me alone, and da-da-da. And now they're starting to kind of quote me back to me,
Yep.
but it's not from me. Like,
I know where that
it's
came from.
like, well,
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
But I always tell people,
mhm.
I've never once in my life have I ever learned anything before I was ready to learn it. Like,
Yep.
so,
Mm.
when I'm trying to
Absolutely.
get them to, why don't you learn this? Why don't you learn this? They're just not ready. They're not ready.
Yep.
But when they are ready and they do learn it, it's so edifying to have it come back and go, okay, cool. All right. At least we created
yeah,
the right
wonder where
container.
you got that from.
It was my pleasure to talk to Dedric and Krystal Polite. They are an absolute treat. You can find them on Instagram at @BPoliteProperties. And if you want, one day we'll go on a field trip to their trampoline park. Again, thanks to all of you who are supporting Marriage Therapy Radio. It means a lot to me. Thanks again to Dedric and Krystal for joining me for this very cool conversation. For the moment, I'll thank you for the time and attention you're putting into making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.